goodness, look at you. You're so grown up.
It is the final season of The Way Home. How are we holding up?
It's bittersweet.
Yeah.
It's bittersweet.
Yeah, it's obviously when you're on a project that you care about so much, and all of us do, and care about each other so much, it's hard for something good to come to an end. But I think we have so much faith in the people that got us to this point, our showrunners, our writers, the show creators, that we knew we were in good hands in terms of the story. And so many of our wishes have come true for this season. So I think that it'll make the audience really happy too.
I am really excited about this proposal that Elliot is cooking up. It all sounds very mysterious. I'm sure you can't say much, but like, what does he have up his sleeve?
Well, Elliot's always been trying to maintain control of the situation. And back in season 1, he said to Kat, I'll kiss you when it's the perfect time. And clearly Elliot hasn't learned because he tells Kat that he's going to do it at the right time. And the pond always has other ideas, and we've known now through 3 seasons that we can expect the unexpected. So however he's planning it, rest assured, it's probably going to be more complicated than that.
What do you think the show got really right about mother-daughter relationships?
Ooh, I think they got right the ups and downs, the highs and the lows. Andie, as a woman, definitely when we were working, so as an actress, like I constantly learning things from her, but I was so grateful that so many of the words and the intention and the genuineness when she would speak to me personally about my own life and about being a mother, and even through the character, through Del to Kat, is so many things that I wish I had heard from my own mother, that there was like, it was so healing in so many ways. And then I have daughters that are teenagers, and I feel like I was able to utilize so many things that I struggled with and the traumas and stuff in my own life to try to change that for my daughters as well. Like the buck stops here, which is such a hard thing to do. That's from a personal perspective, but then it also lends itself to the dynamic in the show, where having a teenage daughter, like kind of had the through line, and to see generationally what we carry with us and what we try to change. And I feel like the fact that our showrunners, mother and daughter team, was and close with the ages, as far as like Heather Conkey, and then Alex and I are like, I think a month apart. So it was really interesting how well they hit it like on the head. I feel like it's been a really beautiful story.
So I know that everybody is very gung-ho this season about finding Elliot's mother. He is a little bit apprehensive, it seems. Can you kind of like take us into his head? Like what's sort of going through his mind?
Sure. Well, if you look at the past 3 seasons, the pond has not necessarily been a benevolent figure at all times. And Elliot's been kind of the only one who's been cautioning restraint. And usually when people are just kind of going gung-ho into the past, difficult things happen, and there's been a lot of pain as a result. And so, especially when it becomes personal, I think Elliot's fallback is always going to be a defensive position, because he's the only one who's understanding the full like butterfly effect of it all, and the fact that at this point there's some jumping that's happening all the time, and no one's really worrying about the fact that we could just break the time-space continuum entirely. And so I think it's a tough sell to get Elliot to just want to abandon caution and jump and just go on an adventure. However, I think that the revelation that his mom is alive is sort of a catalyst that will start snowballing, and there's some learning and there's some healing in store for Elliot, and we'll see what he does with that information, because it's possible he's got a bit of a hero's journey.
This might all be old hat to someone from the future. Is your time as grand as this? Grander? Definitely not.
So many of the twists are time related, and there's so much to keep track of. At any point during the series, were either of you like, I need something explained to me?
Every episode, almost every scene. I needed a lot of reminders and a lot of connecting the dots because our show is so complicated and I traveled through so many different timelines. It was like nearly impossible to keep it together. So a lot of times I would look over at Evan and say, where am I? Where did I just come from? And just like trying to keep track of it all. Yeah, it was like the strings on a board trying to find like, you know, a felon or a killer or whatever it was. Like it was hard. It was hard. But everybody made it so much easier for us. And we always had an open door to go and ask questions if we got lost, for sure.
What about you, Andie? Did you ever need things explained?
I don't time travel, so I didn't get lost nearly as much. I mean, I only went back to see my wedding, so mine was not that confusing. I don't know how they did it though. You know, I had to keep up with what they were doing.
Yeah, this
I had
is
to
true.
because I would still be in the scenes with them when they came back.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I'm not going to tell you what my method was.
Oh,
No, I'll tell you what my method was. Don't worry about it. It'll make sense in a minute.
yep, that's right. That's right. Or I would say sometimes just be like, they're going to fix it in post. It's
No, I
great.
didn't. Yeah, but me was just relax. In a minute, in a minute, it'll all make sense.
Yeah,
That's what I would
That's great.
do.
I love that.
Just stay calm and carry on.
Absolutely. That's right.
Since you are going your separate ways, there's so many little like trinkets on this show. Did any of you, take anything as a souvenir of your time?
Yeah, I took quite a few things. I took the guitar. It was probably like the most important and like biggest thing that I really wanted to take. I kind of thought there would be other people that wanted it, and we have quite a few copies of the same one because if something happened to it, we'd be screwed. But I ended up with the guitar. I just put it up in my house like 2 weeks ago next to my personal guitar that I've had my whole life, and it just felt very right. It's another era of my life. And I took the Cat and Brady Forever bracelet that Alice throws into the pond at the start of season 1, and a whole bunch of things. But yeah, I think those are the two most meaningful ones.
The producers were kind enough to recognize that it's so meaningful to us to be on this journey that they offered basically sort of like, what would you like to take home? And so we didn't actually have to like
it wasn't
steal
stolen.
even though maybe we would have anyway. But I ended up with Elliot's time travel journal with all of the logs, which I thought that's really cool. And I also ended up with Elliot's glasses, which kind of surprised me because that was one of the thorns in my side is acting with a reflective surface on my face when I'm working on an image-based medium, and I would have sort of a location of where I could and couldn't go, and they'd tell me from behind the camera like bad, 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 good. So I would like end up sometimes acting like with a weird T-Rex neck, but I think that kind of frustration will subside with time, and I'll just think fondly of those glasses. And who's Elliot Augustine without his glasses?
What are you sort of happiest about when you look back to season 1 to now in terms of your own character's growth?
One of the most important storylines and dynamics, honestly, was to be able to see Del and Kat. And I'm not just saying this because you're right next to me. It's genuinely to see how that healing worked and how far they came from the very first time that they saw each other after 20 years, and then to where they, are currently. And you see it throughout season 4. And for Kat to understand, how much Del did go through, because she sees so much of it going to the past and how it affected her, and trying to, in her own mind, go, okay, I can't imagine the heartache that you've been through. I know my own experience. I know how it affected me, living through it all over again, like seeing Colton die in season 1, and like knowing that she was responsible to carry that weight, and then for them to be able to talk about these things and talk through them, I think, and heal so many heartaches. That for me is like such a beautiful story that I'm so glad that we get to, you get to see how far they've come and the growth that they've both had by the end of season 4. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
I agree with all that, and I would add for me for playing Dale, what I always loved to imagine was you did not see all those years where she was alone, and you have to imagine what it was like to live, alone without anyone except for I had Elliot.
Yeah,
But and what does that mean about that relationship too? I think that's interesting.
totally.
But how lonely was she? And then to have her daughter come home and her granddaughter come home, and it's losing those hard edges that she had, because that has to make you tough. You got to be tough to survive all that.
Well, yeah, and you're out there and you're running a farm, and you're like, yeah.
So for me, the evolution of finding Dale's softness. And I feel like the edges do start to soften by the last season. I mean, it's a slow evolution because it's happening. There's some beautiful scenes between us over the years, and my granddaughter, there's just beautiful scenes of warmth and empathy and forgiveness and compassion.
Your scenes together, also because they hit me personally, but like your scenes together are always so precious.
Yeah, they're
like,
sweet. And precious is the perfect word.
It is. It's precious.